My name's Dr. Emma Williamson, and I'm a reader in gender-based violence here in the Centre for Gender and Violence Research at University of Bristol, and we've recently been involved in a project looking at justice, inequalities and gender-based violence, which we refer to as the Justice Project. The idea for the project came from two women's organisations in the UK, so one in England, one in Wales, and they came to us and said that they felt that with the legal changes that had happened over recent years, that they no longer knew what justice meant to survivors of abuse. So that's where the idea came from, and we developed a research proposal around that, and the project ran for 2 years. There are a number of findings because it was a very large project and included looking at 1,500 police case files and taking data from that, as well as interviewing 251 victims and survivors. But some of the key findings were that we actually found concrete evidence, that advocacy works for victims and survivors. So if you have a support person, whether that's in relation to sexual violence or domestic violence, you're more likely to go through the criminal justice system, the formal system, less likely to drop out, and more likely to have a positive, if you want a conviction, if you see that as being a positive outcome, more likely to have a positive outcome. And we were able to prove that. So in the past, there's been anecdotal evidence that works, but we've now got proof for that, which is really important for those people who are commissioning those services, but primarily really important for victims and survivors, that actually having that support will make a massive difference to whether they get justice or not. There's lots of different papers coming out from the study and lots of practical policy implications. So the government's currently come forward with a domestic violence bill. So we've had quite a lot of impact in that, and a lot of the research findings have contributed to their thinking around what the bill will look like. We will be continuing to do that, to provide evidence. We've got papers that are looking at the impact of faith-based communities on people's ability to report or disclose, looked at child sexual abuse and historic cases and how they go through the criminal justice system. We'll also be looked at another side issue around the secondary trauma of researchers themselves when they're researching this type of topic. Because obviously it's, and we hope to take that forward in a policy perspective as well. So there's lots of work currently coming out, which will continue to do so for the next year. We have interview transcripts from 251 interviews with victims and survivors, which we collected over 9 months, and we will be applying for funding to do some secondary data analysis of those interviews in order to look in more detail at some of the other services that were mentioned in those interviews and about how the different professional bodies can support victims and survivors going forward.